Colonel Wyatt hits the screen, got stories bold and keen. Old soldier, sharp and mean, tells truths they've never seen. Rugby lover with a roar, Africa flowing in his core. YouTube rants they can't ignore, his passion makes his heart soar. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Military mind, keen and wise, truths come out, no disguise. South African skies, in his eyes, hear his voice, no surprise. Retired soldier with the fight, in the dark he brings the light. Angry rants, truths ignite, join the cause, join the ride. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Enemies knocked on his door, trolls attack, but he's more with each click. Watch him soar on the truth waves, he explodes. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Right now, don't miss the brawl.
Take a picture.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Happy 4th of July, America. Happy 4th of July. Independence Day 2026. 250 years since we told the Brits to hit the road, Jack, and don't come back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this 4th of July. Pretty epic so far. President Trump's speech at Mount Rushmore last night. The incredible fireworks show there. A fantastic parade in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We covered all that last night. The ball dropping from Times Square for Eastern Standard Time in each of the time zones for the U.S. We caught the Eastern time zone and then also watched the time zone for Central. Welcome back to the program on Saturday, July 4th, 2026. How you all doing? This will be a brief news program. We have to stop before the next hour, just at the bottom of the hour, because the Springboks are playing England. And some late changes in that game. Eben Etzebeth and Sia Khaleesi have been scratched, as well as George Furbank for England, which shouldn't change the outcome, but it will mean that Eben Etzebeth gets one less cap for his career, his record-setting career. So, shame. All right, folks, let's get to it. Let's talk about the news and how things are going. Thank you all for joining me today. I do appreciate you being here. Please feel free to watch the content, leave comments behind, share the content, and as well as also, if you're not a subscriber and you're listening, please become a subscriber. YouTube doesn't track you. You're tracked anyway. It's based on your IP address, not based on your username. So just relax and join us here. You'll find lots of interesting news, a little entertainment here and there. We got some rugby to talk about too. Wales, Fiji scored again, and Wales has just scored. So it looks like they're going to do a kick here for a penalty, and that'll take it to 25. Yep, 25-17, and quite exciting game there. Wales and Fiji playing. Not a big crowd on hand, but it's been a pretty exciting game. Fiji's had a lot of opportunities to take control of this game. They haven't done it. Some more rugby to talk about here in just a little bit. Keeping the British Revolution going for 250 years. We are checking to see our British Revolution. No, Keith. Oh, you mean keeping it in the news for 250 years? Yes, we've kept the British Revolution, British in the news for 250 years. Oh yeah, Guy Fawkes. Oh, okay, gotcha, Guy Fawkes. Yeah, he didn't quite get it right. He didn't quite get it right. Welcome, Keith. I hadn't seen you there in a bit, so good to see you again. All right, folks. Springbok tickets have been slashed because people are not interested in this game, sadly. I hope that doesn't bode poorly for my broadcast. By the way, after this game, ladies and gentlemen, after this broadcast, if you'd like to join us, you're welcome to go over to Rugby Senate, where I'll do my 4th of July coverage of the Springboks and England. And so please feel free to join me over there. I'm just setting it up now so that you get automatically redirected there. Let's see if I can get it there. Got it. Okay. You'll be automatically redirected there. Hopefully we'll get a large audience over there for that game. It would be really nice. So we're kind of stagnating at subscribers. I'm adding subscribers and losing subscribers left and right. Pretty much staying at the same number. And that's going on now for 3 days. Must be a consequence of the denial letters, but not that many people got denial letters. So why is this happening? It seems strange. We've been gaining subscribers left and right. Got over 300 in one day there on the 30th. Since the 30th, it's been very slow. July has been a very bad month for subscribers. So hopefully we'll gain some more here. Springbok tickets prices have been slashed. Nobody wants to go to this game. Shame. It should be a good game. Good chance for the Springboks to run up some numbers. But we can't look past England. Never look past them. It could be a mistake. South African Rugby have reduced the ticket prices for the opening Nations Championship clash against England at Ellis Park today. The reduction comes after slow ticket sales, with fans stating that prices were not affordable in the current economic climate. SA Rugby are hopeful the tickets will sell. A sports management expert say they ignore the economic pressures in their ticket pricing. The lowest price tickets for the test went from $9.50 to $6.50 to $4.50. Wow. So now they're less than half what they were. Yeah, I know. I looked at prices for these tickets. They're outrageous for some of the All Blacks tour. The tickets are really expensive. Plus, they've forgotten that people spent their money on the All Blacks tour because those tickets were so pricey. Predictions Saturday's attendance will be a little more than 21,000 are entirely erroneous, said SA Rugby spokesperson. They're hoping to reach capacity sellout, but don't hold your breath on that. The high ticket price for Springbok matches have not gone down well with loyal fans, and there were empty seats against the Barbarians in Nelson Mandela Bay 2 weeks ago. In addition to there still being tickets available for this weekend's test, there are also plenty available for next week's match at Loftus against Scotland. The tickets available for Pretoria range from $1,050 to $2,500. Wow. Huge price, one that South Africans cannot afford in the current economy. It's clear that high ticket prices alienate loyal followers and fans who are not willing to budge and compromise their budget for a ticket. Well, I would, if I were there. I would be at the Scotland game next week, but I'm not in South Africa. So, Kumbudzu Nchiveni slams disgraceful diplomat's middle finger to South Africa after Zuma and Gupta's meeting. So, the South African High Commissioner was at that meeting with the Guptas and Jacob Zuma. Highly inappropriate. Has that ambassador been recalled and fired? Nope. Minister in the presidency, Kumbudzu Nchiveni, held a press conference yesterday where she expressed the government's position on several issues. One of them was South African High Commissioner. Hey, Ronaldo, man. How's it going? How's it going, Ronaldo? Sent you a pic. My dad attending fourth party tonight. Share if you want. Well, thank you for that, Ronaldo. It's very kind of you. I do appreciate that. Thank you for the 70 Rand. One of the people at the photo op was South African High Commissioner to India, Anil Sokal's eyebrow-raising appearance next to former President Zuma during his visit to Ajay Gupta. She described the act as a disgrace and said that he was showing South Africa the middle finger. Well, you mean like the chief of the South African Defense Force going to Iran and pledging fealty to the terrorist regime without the approval or knowledge of the Minister of Defense or the Deputy Minister or the government of South Africa? You mean like that middle finger? The ANC has no control over their government. None whatsoever. They have a procession of incompetent, illiterate boobs running things, and they send people based on loyalty, not on competence. This is disgraceful. It is shameful. It is the African National Congress. And it is what you get when you vote for, well, I'll just leave it at that. It's not what you thought. It's not what you thought. Thieves was the word I was going to use. Yep. Well, Cape Town has 3 months under the court ruling to fix the spatial issue in Cape Town. So now if you own a home, get ready for its price, its value to tumble as you're forced to take social welfare housing next to your multi-million-dollar residence, courtesy of the corrupt, captured judiciary in South Africa. The Constitutional Court has given the Western Cape government a 3-month deadline to draft policies for the provision of affordable housing in Cape Town after finding the province failed to redress apartheid's spatial injustice in its economic hub. Apartheid segregation confined non-whites to live in townships far from economic hubs and the central business districts as well as suburbs reserved for whites. Thursday's judgments will create a precedent for the country's metros in readdressing the inequality caused by these spatial settlements. No. Thursday's judgment will be the destruction and collapse of South African property values. They're already under threat from unconstitutional expropriation without compensation. This will be the final nail in the coffin. When you force people to live next to dirtbag, filth, scum, useless, unemployed, drug addicts, well, imagine when property values fall and nobody wants to live there. What a dumbass court this is. Well, more great news for South Africa is its last manganese smelter has halted production. TransAlloys ceases production at its facility in Mpumalanga, frustrated by the slow pace of tariff relief. South Africa's last manganese smelter has ceased production as high electricity prices continue to batter the country's industrial base, with companies queuing at Eskom's door for tariff relief. TransAlloys is one such company. On Wednesday, it ceased production at its facility in Mpumalanga. The contemplated mothballing the plant puts 600 jobs on the line, with 7,000 downstream jobs also at risk. After years of mounting financial losses while negotiations over electricity tariffs with Eskom and the government continue, it is not asking for special treatment, just the same terms granted to ferrochrome producers. Our business has been losing substantial amounts of money for the past 3.5 years. We've done everything possible to reduce costs, conserve cash, raise awareness, and engage the government. But the government of South Africa, under the angry, naughty children, is tone deaf to the needs of South Africa's industry. While Morocco has become Africa's most industrialized country, at half the population of South Africa and entirely in a desert, South Africa is deindustrializing on a massive scale. A massive scale. Were it not for Alcoa, your largest aluminum smelter would also be closing. Were it not for Alcoa bailing out a corrupt South African enterprise. Thank you for the 35 rand. Debbie and Yanni, thank you as well. It is all bad news. All bad news, folks. The Democratic Alliance stands up, not for farmers, not for persecuted racial minorities. That's not who they're standing up for. They're standing up for Yusuf Kassim. The DA's rally behind newly appointed Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Yusuf Kassim, after a wave of online abuse following his appointment. Some social media users falsely claimed that he was a foreign national, while others posted xenophobic and Islamophobic comments. Well, xenophobic comments would be invalid if he's a South African. He was born in the Eastern Cape, and he said he's a proud South African and thanked those who defended him online. The backlash occurred after a photograph of him wearing a headdress appeared on Ramaphosa's social media. The post quickly drew significant attention, generating more than 63,000 reactions, 15,000 comments, 6,000 shares. Some users criticized or mocked Kassim, others falsely claimed he was a foreign national. Some comments were overtly xenophobic, while others suggest without evidence he might be carrying explosives. Oh, dear God. People can be so stupid. He took to social media to affirm his South African. I was born and bred in South Africa, just like my parents and grandparents before them. I'm a proud South African. I'm proud of my invaluable contributions made by all South Africans, including my colored Indian and Malay South Africans, to our liberation struggle. We owe it to them to unite in building. Excuse me. Who gives a shit about your liberation struggle? It has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Oh, it's always Jan van Riebeck's fault. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Wow. DA Eastern Cape leader Andrew Whitfield condemned what he described as xenophobic, Islamophobic, and racially charged attacks directed at Kassim. Attacks based on race, religion, ethnicity, or perceived nationality have no place in our public discourse. What about murders based on skin color? Do they have no place in society, South Africa? Those who disagree with his appointment are free to judge him on his track record, his work, and the outcome he delivers. Could it be because he's a DA member? Probably. The ANC sounds the alarm over growing Musina migrant camp. Well, what's going on there, folks? Up near the border there. Oh, more trouble for South Africa. Interesting. The ANC in Limpopo has warned that the Musina Temporary Repatriation Center must not become a permanent fixture. Well, lots of things in South Africa shouldn't be permanent fixtures. There should be no housing in the Cape Flats. No informal settlements in Cape Flats. But the DA allows it. The DA doesn't bulldoze the houses because they're afraid of being called racist. But the ecological carnage being caused by feces and urine and rubbish and overhabitation in the Cape Flats is an ecological disaster. Flying with checked baggage? Well, guess what? Imagine this. Africa is the world's worst baggage handling rate. No kidding. You ever fly through OR Tambo before 2010? There are few faster ways to sour a trip than arriving at your destination, watching the arrivals terminal empty and the baggage carousel slow to a halt. It's irritating enough on a weekend away, but it can be a small disaster when the missing bag contains hiking shoes, winter layers, wedding clothes. Yep. Travelers flying in Africa now have a stronger reason than most to pay attention before handing over checked luggage. Africa recorded the highest baggage mishandling rate of any region in the world at 12 per 1,000 bags. The global average was 4.9. Europe recorded 10.5. Mishandling rates fell by 23% in 2025. Total number of bags mishandled dropped by 19%. But the baggage disruption still cost the airline industry $6.3 billion a year. And each mishandled bag costing the airline average $260. $260, that's the cost of the suitcase alone. What about the contents? Well, the government's proving its determination to stamp out illegal aliens, finally, after all these years. Going after biscuit companies. Yes, the move to shut down biscuit factory after raid finds 9 foreigners allegedly working there illegally. Police have arrested and detained 9 foreign nationals who were employed at a biscuit factory in Rights in the Free State. Police spokesman Warrant Officer Mamako Mopiring said an intelligence-driven operation was conducted at the premises. The necessary immigration verification administrative processes are being finalized. So, South African intelligence services can't keep track of terrorists in their midst and the terror financing that funnels itself through South Africa, which led to its grey listing, which hasn't been approved, by the way, has not been approved. But they can send intelligence agents to shut down a biscuit factory in Rights. Ooh, priorities, folks, priorities. Thank goodness we're going after the biscuit makers because, they're so dangerous. Meanwhile, as I said, late scratches from the game. These 2 players will not be in the game, apparently. Ebenet Sabeth and Sia Khaleesi. Shame. Peter Steph du Toit will put on the captain's armband in Khaleesi's absence and move to a lock position number 4. And Cameron Henneken will don the number 7 jersey. Peter Steph du Toit, the captain, and Paul de Villiers comes in the number 6 jersey replacing Khaleesi. Those are the changes for today's game, which is just about 40 minutes away. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, the Springbok women have surprised the USA Eagles in South Africa in the tune-up game for what's about to follow. The Springbok women secured their first home victory of the season. The 11th-ranked Springboks are moving up. They beat the USA 34-21, and they were way out in front of it. It took 3 second-half tries for the U.S. to make this respectable, closing the gap. But South Africa was really rolling in the first half. So congratulations to the Lady Bucks. The Wallabies, in agonizing fashion, fall late to Ireland, 33-31 on home soil. Tom Clarkson scored a last-gasp converted try as a dogged Ireland battled to a riveting 33-31 victory over Australia in Sydney. 5 Irish players dotted down in the 10-try thriller and inflict more pain on the unlucky Wallabies, who have now lost 8 of their last 9 tests. Australia bolted out of the blocks in front of a sold-out Sydney football stadium in a hectic first half to reach the break with a 24-19 advantage. But they can only score 1 try in the second half, and that's what did them in. Japan, minus Eddie Jones, out for suspension. The coach shocks Italy. Italy, which had been improving dramatically and looked like a contender in the Six Nations for the first time this year, fall in dramatic fashion in Japan. Japan beat Italy 27-10 to make an impressive start to their nation's championship campaign in Tokyo. Japan fell behind but soon hit back against the Italians, who came to the game off the back of a successful Six Nations where they beat England for the first time. Eddie Jones was barred from the stadium as he served the last game of his 4-match suspension for abusing match officials on a tour to Australia earlier this year. Wow, congratulations to the Brave Blossoms who take down Les Azurs. Shame. And in the best in the best soccer World Cup game in years, last night, Argentina was carrying 4-leaf clovers in their back pockets. They had traditional healers and juju and muti and everything that they could possibly imagine, and prayers to heaven for divine intervention as Cape Verde shocked them last night in what would have been the biggest upset in FIFA history. 67th ranked Cape Verde held their own, came back with an equalizer twice to tie the game in extra time. In the second half, Argentina scored. If they would only have reviewed Messi's offside first goal, then it would have been a 2-1 victory for Cape Verde. What an incredible soccer game this was last night. Cape Verde falls to Argentina 3-2 in extra time. The Blue Sharks held the defending champions 1-1 in full time and found a second equalizer in extra time before ultimately giving up a third and final goal. The World Cinderella story has come to an end in Miami. After defying the odds to stay unbeaten against global elites and become the smallest nation ever advanced beyond the group stage, Cape Verde lost to Argentina 3-2. What an incredible. And the goalie, Veronza, had 8 saves. A couple absolutely incredible. His whole team was dorking around when Messi had a penalty kick, and he's like trying to move them around, and they're all just looking at each other. Messi kicked the ball. He made an incredible dive to the side, and he actually blocked the ball when the rest of the team was standing around. Didn't even know that Messi had kicked it. He did it all on his own. It was absolutely incredible. Well, Egypt has uncovered a lost Byzantium city in the Western Desert. A well-preserved Byzantium-era residential city in the Western Desert is one of 2 major archaeological finds announced by Egypt today. The recent discoveries at the Dakhla Oasis and at the Marina El Alamein archaeological site near Alexandria are the latest findings in which the Egyptian government hopes will boost the country's vital tourism sector, partially driven by antiquity sightseeing. Along with the strategic Suez Canal, tourism is a major source of foreign currency. The unearthed quarters include north-south thoroughfares intersected by east-west streets, forming open squares and public spaces. A basilica church dating back to the mid-4th century stands at the settlement's head, overlooking its main streets, along with the remains of 2 watchtowers to safeguard the outskirts. The oasis, located in Egypt's western province of New Valley in the Western Desert, is on UNESCO's tentative list, a step away from being added to the World Heritage List. Wow, an ancient Byzantium city uncovered in the desert. Massive crowds rock up for the burial of the terrorist-in-chief, the no longer with us Ayatollah. Authorities predict 20 men will attend ceremonies to mourn the supreme leader killed in the war with Israel and U.S. Coffins containing the Ayatollah and members of his family at a mosque. Large crowds gathered in Tehran as Iran began 6 days of funeral ceremony for its slain supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in what the Islamic Republic is framing as a show of defiance against the West. Thousands of black-clad mourners began convening at dawn today outside Tehran's Grand Mosalla Mosque. The Islamic Republic will seek to use the mass gatherings to galvanize supporters amid a fragile ceasefire with the U.S. President Trump on Friday used a speech marking the 50th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. to say that America has knocked the hell out of them. They want to settle so badly. We gave them a week off for a funeral because we're nice, he told a crowd. I don't know if they want to settle. They sure don't seem like it. Britain's National Archives, an archive, has uncovered a rare copy of the Declaration of Independence, captured in U.S. ships' papers. Michael Schur has been volunteering at Britain's National Archives for the last 11 years, spending his Thursday mornings painstakingly cataloging documents for the benefit of future researchers. Then one day, last May, the retired insurance executive made a discovery of his own while sifting through the letters of an 18th century Royal Navy captain. There, attached to a report on the capture of an American privateer, Dalton, on Christmas Eve 1776 was an enclosure identified only as another paper. Carefully unfolding the document, he stopped when the word Declaration printed across the top. I thought, oh, okay, right, this is definitely the Declaration of Independence. How exciting is this? Researchers at the National Archives have since identified the document as a rare early copy of America's founding document printed just days after the original was signed on July 4th to spread the news that 13 rebellious North American colonies had severed ties with Britain. It is just one of 11 original copies of the so-called Exeter printing of the Declaration that are known to exist, and the only one identified outside the United States. The National Archives said on Thursday as it unveiled the find ahead of its 250th anniversary of American independence. This version was printed in Exeter, New Hampshire on the 16th to the 19th of 1776. But it isn't just the age of the document makes important, also the fact that it was captured from a ship under the direction of the recently formed Continental Congress with orders signed by its president, John Hancock, said Amanda Bevan. Wow. Wow. Finding a copy of the Declaration of Independence on board ship also suggests how it might have been used. She said she believes the Dalton's captain would have read out his orders as was customary, and also the Declaration itself. They know why they're fighting, but this puts it in a language which makes it greater for them. Unbelievable. As a privateer, the 18-gun Dalton was a privately owned vessel that fought under the auspices of the Continental Congress to supplement the tiny navy of the new nation. Captain Thomas Fitzherbert, commander of the 64-gun HMS Reasonable, chased the Dalton for 7 hours on Christmas Eve before capturing it off the coast of Portugal. The Dalton's 120-man crew was imprisoned in Plymouth under harsh conditions. Charles Hebert, just 19 when he was captured, described hunger, illness, and repeated punishment in the journals he kept during more than 2 years of captivity before his release in a prisoner exchange. Despite it all, many survived. Wow. Discovery proves that despite time having passed, there's still more for historians to find. Look at the Egyptians who just found an ancient Byzantium city and the Brits who unveil a copy of our Declaration of Independence. China is devastating Germany's Mittelstand. Mid-sized companies that employed millions of workers are now shedding jobs and relocating overseas to cut costs. For decades, thousands of niche world-class manufacturers that form the backbone of the German economy relied on unassailable moat, unmatched quality. The Mittelstand, the broad tier of mid-sized manufacturers mainly specialized in capital and intermediate goods, once thrived by making machines for factories everywhere, but China is now closing the quality gap and offering prices as low as half those of the European rivals. Panic spreads among German manufacturers. Layoffs are rolling through the formerly prosperous towns and villages with no living memory of a downturn. For the first time in decades, Germany now imports more advanced capital goods from China than it exports there. Wow. Germany is in trouble. The socialists have allowed the communists to get the upper hand. Congratulations to the United States celebrating its 250th anniversary today. Unfortunately, sweltering heat is having big impact on events here in the Mid-Atlantic region as people don't go out. The final stretch, one of the most intense eastern heat waves in years, which could fuel an added storm threat. A parade in the nation's capital is canceled this morning due to extreme heat, and the Great American State Fair is opening 2 hours later at noon. Oh boy. President Trump kicks off the nation's 250 as Americans brave heat to celebrate Independence Day. The National Mall flyover scheduled for today for aircraft. Military aircraft are set to rocket through the skies of Washington, D.C. and the National Mall on the 4th of July. More than 30 flyovers and demonstrations are planned for Saturday, according to Freedom 250. While you'll likely be able to see the flyovers from many parts of D.C., official viewing locations include the Great American State Fair and the FIFA Fan Zone on the National Mall, which are set to open at noon. The show in the sky will also be visible from the Washington Monument Grounds, which are set to open at 5 p.m. You'll need to enter through secure zones. Prepare for the extreme heat as well. Water bottle refill stations are available. Metal water bottles are not allowed. Misting tents and cooling stations are available. Flyovers lead up to a speech by Trump, followed by what's being billed as the largest fireworks display ever, starting at 10:30 p.m. At 1:14 p.m., NASA has an F-5 flyover. U.S. Coast Guard has a helicopter flyover at 1:44. The Golden Knights, the U.S. Army's elite parachute team, at 2:09. Army helicopter flyover at 2:29. Air Force, Marines, Navy, Air Force Thunderbirds demonstration is at 6:30. The Blue Angels is 5 o'clock, 4:59. F-22 Raptor demonstration is 7:39. B-1, the Golden Knights have a twilight jump at 8:22, so they're going twice today. That is an incredible lineup. The Thunderbirds at 6:25. Man, it's all happening today in D.C. If you live in D.C., you're very fortunate. You're going to see an awful lot. An awful lot. President Trump hails American exceptionalism at his speech last night, which we covered on Night Owls from Mount Rushmore. But it turned darkly political, according to many commentators, and that's a fair comment. It got kind of political. Communism is a mortal threat to American liberty, he said. It's the greatest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, even 9/11. While the language is similar to several other speeches he's given in recent days, it was notable for being delivered in a national park to commemorate some of America's most prominent presidents. And it swerved from the typically apolitical unifying speeches past presidents like Ford or Reagan have delivered. Indeed, Trump's language evoked the Red Scare in the 1950s when alleged communists were persecuted and blacklisted from jobs across America. Who's writing this? This is the Washington Times. They weren't alleged communists. They were communists. They were all caught being communists. The Red Scare was because they were Reds. Business Day is much kinder to President Trump with its description of his speech. Trump extols America and rails at communism. Yeah, this comes from Reuters. Much kinder. Shocking. Fox News, or the Washington Times, says bad things about the president, but they stand pretty good. We stand beneath the monument of these heroes, a true group of unbelievable people, and we rededicate ourselves to being a nation big, bold, noble, and as great as these American giants. And that's not easy to do, but we're going to do it. There's now a resurgence of the communist menace in our land, including the newcomers to our country who embrace ideas totally opposed to our way of life and our great success. Trump was Trump, and people should not be surprised. President Trump has pardoned former Jack Abramoff partner and 9 people convicted of violating vehicle emissions. You get convicted for violating vehicle emissions? My goodness. Talk about desperate to put honest people in jail. It's my great honor to sign pardons for 6 people who were persecuted by the Biden regime and were in or being sent to prison for fixing their car. Wow, I'm setting them all free now. Good Lord. Pardons come after Trump on Monday signed a memo telling environmental protection agencies that Americans can fix their own vehicles as they see fit. As he signed the memo, Trump referenced a diesel mechanic he pardoned last year who disabled emissions monitoring systems. The memo also addressed aftermarket auto parks and would supersede the ability of the California Air Resources Board to evaluate parts that affect vehicle emissions. The White House, in releasing a list of those pardoned, described Trump having relieved consumers from these regulatory burdens. Beyond the emissions-related pardons, Trump on Friday also issued a pardon for Adam Kidden, the former business partner of Jack Abramoff. So Americans are being put in prison because they disabled the emissions monitoring device that spied on their cars. The communist, socialist, corrupt, racist regime of demented Joe Biden putting people in prison for emissions coming out of their car. On the 4th of July, it seems appropriate to pardon people who've committed no crime, an administrative violation, and being put in prison by corrupt bastards from the leftist swamp. So what happened to the 56 people who signed the Declaration of Independence? Before the war was over, 5 of them were captured by the British, 12 lost their homes, and 17 lost their entire fortune. But not one of them renounced the cause of their own free will. The United States celebrates its 50th anniversary of the semi-quincentennial anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. While July 4th marks the day Thomas Jefferson's revised draft of the Declaration of Independence was adopted, it would take months for the document to be signed by all 56 men who would eventually affix their names to it. Several key figures in American history, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, don't appear among the signatories of the Declaration of Independence at all, having been serving in military roles or other capacities at the time. None of the 56 signers died as a result of their signature, but before the war was over, 5 would be captured, 12 would have their homes destroyed, and 17 would lose their entire fortunes. None of the 56 signatories ever renounced the cause of independence of their own free will. Jefferson survived. While Jefferson often gets the lion's share of the credit for drafting the Declaration, Ben Franklin is credited with one critical edit of the document. Widely recognized as a multidisciplinary polymath, Franklin has been dubbed the first American by history for his early and long-running calls for American colonial unity. In the preamble Declaration, Jefferson had originally written, "We hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable." Franklin, who served on the drafting committee, replaced this with the revision, "We hold these truths to be self-evident." Franklin later served as ambassador to France, a lead negotiator in the deal to end the war with Britain, and was the president or governor of Pennsylvania from 1785 to 1788 and served as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention of 1787. Shortly before his death in 1790, Franklin made his last political statement with his support of a petition calling for the federal government to abolish slavery. John Adams, Richard Henry Lee, Casey Rodney, John Hancock. His signature was so large that his name became an American idiom for one signature. The Massachusetts revolutionary leader had been serving as president of the Second Continental Congress since May 24, 1775. Hancock, aside from being the first signer, was the only person who actually signed the document on July 4th. Hancock was the head of a massive commercial empire, deriving his wealth partially from inheritance and partially from smuggling. Had American independence failed, Hancock, as well as his family, would have lost everything. Despite close calls, he made it through the Revolution without facing capture. However, several of his properties were destroyed or occupied by the British during the conflict, while Hancock expended nearly half his personal wealth financing the cause of independence. He later served as first governor of Massachusetts and died in 1793 at the age of 56. He gave half of his fortune for independence. Wow. Well, better yet, Light Rain, President Trump has pardoned people who tampered with emission standards on their cars, while Timmy Waltz has released a sexual predator pedophile who molested a 10-year-old over a number of years. Gave him a pardon, so he couldn't be deported. 10 charts that show how America has changed in 250 years. Find out what $200 in 1790 cost in 1790, but now costs more than $400,000. Wow. The United States grew from 1790 to 1900. In 1790, 95% of Americans resided in rural areas. Today, that figure is 20%. The demographic shift transformed the rural landscape, with more than 50% of rural residents lived on farms prior to 1940. Today, that's 5%. Although the U.S. urban population surged from 5% to 80%, this growth shifted heavily towards suburban outlying areas after 1950. You can see the suburbs are a big part of what's going on now. While domestic migration altered Americans lived, shifting global immigration patterns simultaneously defined who made up the nation. The number of U.S. foreign-born residents grew to 2.2 million in 1850 to 50 million in 2024, or 9% of the population to 15%. Europe supplied the majority of immigrants during the century-long window from 1850 to 1970, though its share dropped from 92% to about 62%. The U.S. Mexican-born population multiplied more than 15 times between 1970 and 2010, exploding from fewer than 800,000 to nearly 12 million because we've allowed criminal alien invasions in this country. The permissive attitude at criminal alien invasion has increased the Mexican-born population from just 800,000 to 12 million in this country. The pivotal point for modern immigration was 1986 Immigration Reform Control Act, according to a study from Hispanic organizations, which Reagan was responsible for. It was instrumental in transforming Mexican immigration. People who shouldn't be here have flooded in this country. The foreign-born population of the United States, from 1850 until 1970, overwhelmingly from Europe and North America. Since then, Latin America has become the major source of immigration, people that are not needed in this country. In 1790, the most popular American surnames were Smith, Brown, Johnson, Davis, Jones, Clark, Williams, Miller, Wilson, Moore, White, Taylor, Thompson, Allen, Hall, all Anglophone. In 2020, Smith, Johnson, Williams, Brown, Jones, Garcia, Miller, Rodriguez, Davis, Martinez, Hernandez, Lopez, Gonzalez, Wilson, and Anderson, as our nation is stolen from us. High fertility rates for a long time. That was the D.D. Miller family of Goshen, Indiana, 1910, 1920 time frame. Look at how many kids he had. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 kids. No wonder she has a scowl on her face. All she did was pop out babies. Median age of Americans and the fertility rate going in opposite directions. Number of persons in the household. In 2010, most families have 4 or less. But in 1790, about half the population had 5 or more, or 2/3 of the population had 5 or more people in the household. This is Staten Island. That is out of control. That is outrageously jam-packed. Too many people, too close quarters. Before 1940, home ownership never exceeded 50%. But look at it now. Home ownership is close to 70%. It all started after the Second World War when veterans' loans were guaranteed by the government. The U.S. government sold land at $1 an acre in the 1790s. Wow. Here's people harvesting potatoes in the 1930s. Before 1880, the American workforce was rooted in agriculture. Nearly 30% of working adults aged 16 and older were farmers. By 2000, the farm-related workers had dropped to less than 1% of the workforce. Here are houses in 1945 in Brooklyn. A closer look at the 1790s housing market reveals that while a basic roof was within reach for some, luxury estates demanded an astronomical premium. A log house in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, with 4 rooms on the floor, including doors, windows, wainscoting, and locks, cost $200. A New York villa on 80 acres listed for $19,000 in 1794. Yearly rent was equivalent to $600 in 1794, or around $18,000 today. So, home price in 1790 and in 2026. What cost $200 in 1790 costs $403,000 today. Jeez. Tuberculosis was the largest cause of death in 1811 at 23.5%. Diarrhea was 6%. Wow. Leading causes of death now, heart disease and cancer. Half the deaths in this country. Diabetes causes 2.8% of deaths. Wow. Life expectancy has risen from the 40s to nearly 80 years of age. Wow, America's changed quite a bit, hasn't it? But then the world has changed quite a bit. Looks like the Wales game is over. Let's see what the final score was. Well, it looks like Wales won this game. Yeah, they won. 37-24. 39-24. 39-24. Full time. Fiji loses the game. All right, well, South Africa's up next. Future's dark. Well, it can sure be. Fiji, Wales, South Africa, England. Is that live already? It says live. It's not live. It's not live. Will be. All right, there you go, folks. Well, that's the news for today. And with a lot of news about America, it's 250th anniversary. I will not be wearing a Springbok jersey for this game because it's America's 250th birthday. I'll be wearing this jersey. So you will be directed to that channel in just a few minutes. So I hope you can join me over there. Don't want to end up spamming the course the mods give time out for warning. Work people, what are you spamming? Mount Rushmore fireworks display, President Trump was super awesome. Thank you, Stephen Swanepoel. I don't disagree with that. Doing a spay on the clampdown 3D printing by Bloomberg. Okay. Bloomberg doesn't control what I print. What are you talking about? Somebody has a question named Rasta. What's the question? Thank you, John Pretorius, for the congratulations on America's birthday. Nadia Murray, welcome to you. Okay. Henry de Jaeger. There's an awful lot of people that names I haven't seen here before. A lot of people are coming to the channel, but the subscriptions are flatlining. What is going on? What is going on? Either a lot of people who never chat are suddenly deciding to chat, or YouTube is playing games again, which is probably what's going on here. So for 6 days, they will expect other countries not to attack them back. Yeah, exactly. So I'm in Iran. Optimum Mine in Pumalanga was bought out by Gupta Brothers. My father was laid off 13 years ago. Now another big company is also closing down due to economics. So sad. Yep. They're blocking the Colonel from us. They don't want the Colonel to tell us the truth, so they block him. Who's blocking me, Rust the Monkey? YouTube? Oh, yeah, YouTube hides my channel. It's definitely true. It's definitely true. There's no question about it. All Blacks beat France. Oh, did they? I didn't see that. What was the score there? Ireland beat Australia. Japan beat Italy. Well, how am I doing my Super Brew then? Let me go see what I picked. Super Brew before we end the stream. Oh, I got a couple wrong. I picked Italy to win, and I picked Fiji to surprise Wales. I did get New Zealand right. I picked New Zealand by 7. They won by 2, so I get both points. I'll need those points. Otherwise, I'm going to fall. Let's see where I rank now. Oh, we got 3 applicants for the Nations Assembly. Sorry, I didn't see that. So let's go add those people to it. Manage pool. Applicants. You're approved. You're approved. And you're approved. All right, so I've just approved all those people. Let's see. Okay, so now, I'm 18th in that pool. Wow. So Flighty came out well. 4 winning points, picked all the games correctly, got a match point and a bonus point at 5. Wow, has 5.5. Off to a great start. I'm all the way down at 2.5. I'm 3 points behind him. That sucks. Well done, Flighty. Well done. Your Super Brew is off and running. I'm impressed. Much better than mine. Yeah. No, YouTube has been blocking my channel for years. It's not a surprise. And now they're playing games with subscribers again. They haven't done that for months. Yep. So, yeah, I'm having subscriber growth that is flatlined for 4. Has not happened in a long time. Long time. Miss Hepper told me to get a grip. I told her she's talking BS about the Nile. She claims that they got it for nothing. I asked her if she knows what she's vetting. No, she doesn't know what vetting is. Oh, my goodness. 33,000. Wow, my viewership really plummeted. 120,000 on Tuesday and 33,000 yesterday. Wow. Bummer. So subscribers, yeah, we had 533 to 864. So that's 330 subscribers on June 30th. And since then, we've gone nowhere. It jumped the next day, 864 to 922. So from 922 on the 1st, and it's at 927 today. So if we go back over the last 90 days, we'll see that there was not a period once in there where I flatlined. Every day I grew. So anyway, but the current number of subscribers on the channel is 128,927. So thank you for that, 128,000 people. To appreciate that. Awesome. Anyway. With the Veterans Against Trump protest, I don't know anything about Veterans Against Trump. What veteran would be against Trump? Some retarded moron? Some left-handed hate-wanking spank monkey? What veteran would be against Trump? Only leftist hate wankers and people who hate America are against Trump. Yeah, I'm a veteran. I'm not against Trump. Oh, my goodness. Are you serious? I got ineligible. I've got copyright claims for last night from Tom McDonald, which doesn't surprise me, but the Stars and Stripes Forever, that's bullshit. Anyway, so what a bunch of crap. Anyway. Keith Alderson. He's still going on about Keith. It's been 250 years, Keith. Let go, man. We say goodbye. Yeah, Loretta, I was hoping Fiji would pull that one out. What is trolling? Oh, my goodness. What is trolling? Wow. Are you new to social media? What is trolling? Yes, Rugby Pass is region locked. I said that, Arno. I told people, I guess, did you listen to me about Rugby Pass? Then you didn't listen to what I said. Rugby Pass is free in North America, or in the U.S., because there's no broadcasting rights here. It's a World Rugby site. It's free for certain games. But if a game is covered by SuperSport, you're screwed. That game is being broadcast by SuperSport if you're in South Africa, so you can't watch it. Yeah, but VPN is a delay. Why don't you just listen to me? All right. Yeah, no, it's region blocked because all of Africa has SuperSport. So if you want to watch rugby, that game in South Africa, you've got to have SuperSport. Anyway, embarrassed now how nice the summer's been in the far Pacific Northwest. Well, that's all right, Light Ray, no problem with that. Yeah, right, Ron, the rugby ref, do both. I agree. Put it on the TV and listen to my commentary. Watch mine. So there you go. turn the TV on mute and listen to me. Okay, folks, I need to wrap it up here so I can change over. It takes a few minutes to get the software to cooperate properly. And a low turnout for a Saturday, but thank you, especially all the folks whose name I see for the first time. It's great to see you here again. Thank you so much. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Happy birthday to America. We'll be back for the Springboks game in just a few minutes with some changes to the lineup that came late. God bless America, and God bless everybody out there. Thank you so much for being here. Cheers.